The hotel you see in the distance is the Roosevelt Hotel. That is actually going to be shut down by the owner of the hotel, and potentially a really tall building is going to be put up in its place. A building as tall as the building right behind it. And this is Madison Avenue, and it's around 44th Street here. So you can see we're really close to everything, to the United Nations, to Grand Central, 1 block away from Grand Central. And we're right next to a brand new tall building that was put up also. And this is One Vanderbilt. So allegedly the owners of the Roosevelt Hotel want to put up a really tall building because recently, in the last 10 years, they changed the zoning in the area, allowing for really tall buildings to be put up. The hotel itself has about 1,000 rooms, including 52 suites, and they have the almost 4,000 square foot presidential suite with 4 bedrooms, a kitchen, formal dining room, dining areas. Now, they also have about 30,000 square feet of meeting space. It's just an amazing place. Now, as I mentioned, it's owned by Pakistan Airways, and they're not sure what they're going to do with it right now. And but because the rules have changed for zoning, they could put up a really tall building on this location, and the debate is who they're going to team up with to do something like that. I mean, it would be fantastic to be able to do that. Now, this hotel actually opened up in September, on September 23rd, 1924, and it was built by Niagara Falls businessman Frank Dudley and operated by United Hotels Company. And the hotel was designed by George B. Post & Son and leased from the New York State Realty and Terminal Company, a division of New York Central Railroad. And the hotel originally cost $12 million to be built. Like in today's cost, that's about $180 million, which is still a bargain. And now it was at one time linked to the Grand Central Terminal via underground passage. However, that's not the case anymore. And in 1943, Conrad Hilton purchased the hotel. And that was part of his other hotels that he had, including the Plaza and the Waldorf Astoria. And but then, 1979, Pakistan International Airways, through its investment arm PIA Investment, purchased the hotel after 20 years. Now, it was a great purchase, and in 1999, PIA exercised their option to buy the hotel for $36 million after a legal battle with Paul Milstein, who claimed it was worth much more. Now, they had made an option earlier. Well, those are the breaks, when things like that happen. And then in 2007, there was a $65 million renovation by PIA, or also known as Pakistan International Airways. And then they announced putting up the hotel for sale, but they decided to not do that. But it right now is closed. And a lot of hotels in New York are closed, pending what other things they're going to do with the hotels. But this is a magnificent hotel on the outside and on the inside, and it's on a whole city block, which makes it unique for a development project. Now, as you noticed earlier, I pointed out other tall buildings in the area. Now, what Pakistan International Airways is allegedly contemplating, is putting up a much taller building. sort of like this JP Morgan building that's right next to it, and One Vanderbilt, which is at 42nd and Madison. Now, that would be the ideal usage for this space. Now, who knows? Someone else might come along and say to Pakistan International Airways, I will offer you a lot of money for the hotel. But in reality, the space that the hotel is on is worth a lot more delivered empty, so that a developer could come along and just put up a really tall 100-story building. That would make the space, just being in the space itself, worth as much as the building is, because there's so much that can be done with that, and everyone knows that, and the Pakistan International Airways also knows that. I think probably what's going on, they're kind of discussing what they should do, how they should go about doing it, and in the meantime, while everything is playing out, they're just waiting and seeing what they need to do. And other people are waiting, because right now, any new real estate project is all up in the air. Everyone's waiting to see how everything falls out, because all these hotels in New York, all these offices are in limbo, because who knows if more office space is needed or less office space is needed. Who knows if there's going to be virtual Zoom meetings now much more than businessmen traveling to one place or the other. So that means that there's a lot of things in limbo. And here is just another view of this beautiful hotel. And that street that it's bordered on is Vanderbilt. And where those metal bridges are, that's exactly where Grand Central is located. And you can see here, just an ideal location. Just a beautiful location. And this is just a view directly across the street on Madison from the hotel. Closer view of this beautiful ground level architecture that they have for the hotel. Masterpiece. It'll be a shame if they tear it down, but it would make sense because it's a whole block and it's rare to find space like this on a whole block. But as I mentioned earlier, really the people who have the money, the people who have the real estate, they're not sure what's going to happen right now, so everything's on hold. And the airline that owns this building, maybe they want to team up, or maybe they just want to sell it out to someone for cash, because a lot of airlines need cash. But to be honest, I think it would make sense to team up with someone else, sell out part of it for cash, take an equity stake in the remaining part of this building for the taller building that'll go up, because right now a lot of airlines need the extra cash. But Pakistan International Airways is owned by the government of Pakistan, so they're safe. But most companies want to maximize the revenue, so it would make sense to get some money up front and then take an equity stake in the project. Maybe have a hotel in the project, so that way you sell your hotel, you get your money back, and then you have another hotel for your pilots and everyone else. And if we look up from right across the hotel, we'll end up seeing One Vanderbilt, which is the tall building that was put up recently on 42nd and Madison, right next to the Grand Central Terminal. Now, this is the kind of building that people are rumored to say will be put up on this space, which would make sense because that tall building, One Vanderbilt, is on one city block, a very small city block. And so it would make sense to put up another building similar to that building in place of the Roosevelt Hotel. And at 46 and Vanderbilt, you can see the hotel here. Just another side view. And then in the distance, you could see Grand Central. And that tall building that's rising up there, that was the former Pan Am building, but now they call it the MetLife building. That's right next to Grand Central. And as I said, this hotel, the Roosevelt Hotel, occupies an entire city block. Now, more recently, restaurants have shut down. The restaurants and the different stores in the hotel are pretty much on their way out. They know that. But until they hear more of the words of what is eventually going to happen, they're staying put, like with their leases and everything. But other restaurants realize that it makes no sense to stay open, so they've shut, along with a lot of other locations, restaurant locations in New York. Just a slightly different vantage point to give a better view of the hotel. You can see how they designed it to allow light to come into the separate rooms in different areas. And again, this is still 46th Street and Vanderbilt, but just to provide a better vantage point of what's going on here. We're one block away from Grand Central. We're right near JP Morgan's big buildings. So this is an ideal location for anything. That's why it's so expensive around here.